This is Meet Me for Coffee with an artist that I've actually wanted to speak with for quite some time. Her name is Crystal Shawanda. How's it going, Crystal?
I'm doing great. Thank you. How are you doing?
I'm doing awesome. And you know what? I've wanted to say this to you for quite some time. You got one hell of a voice. And now that you're doing the blues thing, I feel a bit more comfortable listening to you, to be honest. Uh, in the past, like we spoke about off the air, it was on a country station where I discovered you, and I guess you did an interview with the station I was working at, but not with me. So it's great to actually speak with you right now, and I really appreciate you taking the time.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. I'm happy to be a part of it.
And those who don't know Crystal, she's a Canadian girl, and born in was Sault Ste. Marie, right?
Well, actually, I'm from Manitoulin Island, but Sault
Okay.
Ste. Marie, is one of my many hometowns. I used to live there when I went there for high school.
Yeah, yeah.
So I had
It's
amazing.
it's kind of weird that they say Sault Ste. Marie. I was looking at it today, and being in broadcasting and being like a reader, like every person who's actually educated can read, it doesn't make sense, like the way it's spelled. It's
It was like salt.
yeah, salt, and then people are like, "Oh, I want to go to Sault Ste. Marie." That's what we say when we were in elementary school. But Sault Ste. Marie, we have so many weird sayings in Canada. Can you name a few?
Not really. I don't know. There's a lot of different ones, but yeah, I've always felt that about Sault Ste. Marie. It is spelled weird, and I think it's because Canada is this big multicultural bowl, so we have all these, like, sometimes you'll see a street name that's like an indigenous word and like something from somebody's language, one of the tribes in the local area, and then you'll see something that's in French, and so it happens a lot, I think, in Canada.
So in a previous interview we spoke earlier too. It just kind of pulled on my heartstrings as well when you said that you never thought of yourself to be a mother or a child, and when I not a mother and a wife, sorry, and a child. So I look back in my life, and at one point I thought I was done with women completely, and then I was gonna just like watch after my sister's children when she had them, or my cousin's children, and be like, hey, I'm an uncle, I'm gonna pop in and leave, and it's gonna be great. And now I know exactly what position you're in now, and when you find the one for you. But my wife's amazing. Your husband sounds like he's way, way talented, like producer, guitar player, play some complicated riffs. Explain how that chemistry works for you, especially when you're composing music.
It's we always pick up where the other leaves off, and we challenge each other, and sometimes we disagree, and sometimes even I'll get mad, and I'll just, like, I won't like yell, I'll just stop, and I'll be like, okay, maybe let's work on this later. That's what I do when
And
I
you know what? Your voice is so awesome. It's so unique. It's got like that raspy, may I say rough feel, but you got the range, you got the falsetto going and stuff. Did you ever have vocal training, or when did you start?
I singing is all I've ever done. I started singing as soon as I can make noise, and I hit the stage when I was 6 and started getting paid to do it when I was 10. So it's literally all I've ever done. There's never been a plan B. And I just, I always listen to the greats of every style of music, country, blues, rock, pop. I listened to the best of the best, the people who are the best vocalists, and I would sit there and try to study and copy what they do. And then when I was in college, I did a little stint. I took some classical opera voice. I was gonna go to college and be a music teacher, and then 3 months in or 4 months in, I realized I wanted to, I just want to play music, and so I dropped out of college and went back to Nashville.
Well, that's incredible. A little background story about me. I wasn't wanting to sing when I was out of the womb. I've always wanted to eat, and that's still like what they call me here. Like, I'm just always ready to eat. So my career has been in eating, and yours has
Me
been
too.
singing. So, what's the go-to for Crystal Shawanda if she goes out for dinner?
My go-to, well, around here in Nashville, barbecue.
Oh yeah.
Barbecue, barbecue, barbecue. Yeah, all the way. I've got a few different favorite places. I love Jack's Barbecue. and I love Martin's barbecue. I'm a connoisseur. I love them all. I just
Yeah.
love
Are,
barbecue.
there's a lot of
Southern
Canadians down there.
barbecue.
A lot of Canadians writing down there, and you write with other artists as well, and write their songs, and obviously collaborate. You had a chance to collaborate or write a song or be part of a song with George Canyon in the past. I had the pleasure of seeing him in the Calgary Stampede a few years ago, and man, that guy's great.
Yeah, George is awesome. He's such a cool dude. And I was just lucky that he invited me to be a part of that song. And then it was, getting to work with, getting to work with him and perform the song with him on the awards. And, definitely one of my favorite memories on my whole musical journey. It was a great time.
And now you're on to blues. So why the switch from country to blues?
It's just what kept coming out of me. Every time I would sit down to write a song for myself, it always kept coming out really bluesy and soulful, and that's what just, it felt so good singing that. I love country music. I don't have anything against it. Like, there's a lot of great artists out there who I still love to listen to, and a lot of great country songwriters. But it's just like, I feel like when I'm trying to sing country, I'm like trying to fit my voice into a box. And then when I started singing blues music, it was like I could just let it all out of the box, and all these things I can do with my vocals. I could just let it fly now.
You can do whatever you want. Country's more kind of boxed out in the sound that, because eventually you look back on some of these stations, they play the same songs over and over again. And even like Taylor Swift's back in the day when she was doing country off, like, what was that, the 15 or the Fearless album when she first came
Yeah,
out?
yeah.
That was okay. It was great. But everything sounds the same eventually. It's like, oh, here's a new song from, Florida Georgia Line or Kenny Chesney. It's like, well, it's an expected genre. So when the artist comes out with a song, he sounds exactly how you think he's going to sound, right? For blues, it's more like, I'm a musician as well. So you kind of feel it, right? You feel what you're
Yeah,
going to
yeah.
do when you're live. Hey, you know what? You throw in some pretty cool stuff as well. It's whatever you feel. It's like, there's more of like
Totally.
a broader spectrum, just like rock and roll. Rock and roll has lots of different elements, blues elements, could have some classical elements and whatever. So, getting back to yourself and finding yourself musically is very big, because a lot of people don't ever find that. So I commend you on doing that.
Oh, thank you. Sometimes I think like people think I'm like crazy. Like when they ask me like, why would you go to blues? It's such a smaller market. It's not as popular as country music. That's like, you're playing the smaller venues, smaller festivals and whatever. And I'm like, well, that's not really what I'm about. I'm not like tallying numbers in my head of how many people I've performed for in my life. I'm like everybody else. I'm just trying to figure out who I am and where I fit in and what feels good. I'm just following my heart. And and then so it's funny, when I left country music, I actually had some fans messaging me and sometimes even coming right up to me and telling me, well, now that you're singing blues, I'm not going to listen to you anymore. And I'm like, okay, thanks for telling me. But it's nothing personal. Like I said, I still there's a lot of great country music artists who are on the current scene who I think are really cool that I love listening to, genuinely. But at the same time, it's like you were saying about the blues world. It's like I think you could push it just a little bit more. Like everybody has their own interpretation of the blues. Like some people go for that more old school sound, and some people are like electric blues, and so I think there is a little bit room to stretch out. But I don't know. I think in country music too, it's starting to open up. Like you have people like Chris Stapleton, who's super soulful, and Margot Price, who's just she's not mainstream country. But yeah, it's for me, I'm just trying to find the place where it feels good. And right now it feels pretty good.
And you know what? Blues has the most badass parties too, right? The festivals, the blues fest. Say, you can go to a Ribbon Blues Fest and like just chill out the whole night. I remember, I forget who it was. I live in Kitchener, outside of Toronto, Ontario, and I went to a festival. Is it not Buddy Holly or Buddy Guy? That
Yes. Yeah.
Buddy
Yeah.
Guy,
Buddy
yeah.
guy.
So he was there, and like the whole park was full on a Thursday night. Like, who's gonna see a band on Thursday night, fill the whole park in an actual town. Like blues is actually like there's another bar downtown here, and it's just blues and folk music. But when some of these guys like Sean Kellerman come back from tour and whatever, like they're just ripping it, and people are there. It could be a Monday, packed house, right? People
Yeah,
are jiving with it. Country, it's like more of like a weekend kind of thing, or
yeah,
construction. It's like it's a construction workers music, you know, they're working on the house and whatever. But blues is like, hey, let's sit back, let's have a few beers, maybe a scotch or something like that. Let's watch some hockey. Let's say, you know, everything goes with blues, not everything goes to
yeah.
country is what I'm
And
trying to tell you.
I totally, and I think there's a rebirth happening in the blues world right now. Like you've got a lot of like contemporary acts coming out who are just, you know, bringing this really cool vibe, like Samantha Fish and Southern Avenue, Joe Bonamassa, and then, you know, then you have the classics like Buddy Guy, like you mentioned. You know, and it's just it's growing. The scene is growing. It's going through a rebirth, and I think it's going to keep growing, and it's finding its audience right now. You know, I think there are some people who are out there who are tired of the mainstream commercial, whatever style it is they listen to. And I think there's still a level of authenticity in the blues world right now. That's, you know, it's like people are able to push it. And what's cool about blues radio is they don't just play one single, they actually play the whole album. They play what they want. So that's what's pretty cool about the blues world, what working radio.
I think it also has to do with a lot of the musicians maturing as well, and really grasping and grabbing the bull by the horns, and
Yeah.
getting in the pocket. Right, there's a lot of bands just pump out music just constantly. It all sounds the same, but hey, like blues, how can you forget that nice bass line? You know, that those drums and the guitar and like a bit of
Yeah.
distortion, and the raspy voice of Crystal Shawanda. You know, you made me a fan. Like I was a fan before, but now I listen to your latest record. I'm a fan. I'm a big
Thank
fan.
you.
And
Thank you. I appreciate that.
lately I've been interviewing a lot of blues artists, so I've been really getting really into it. And you know, maybe like I'm maturing too. I'm getting older. Like I just want to sit back and chill. I'm not into the heavy metal stuff anymore, I'm interested in it, but it's not going to be my go-to anymore. So
Yeah, yeah, totally.
let's talk about your new record.
Yeah, sure.
So
Definitely.
your husband produced this, or
Yes, yes. My husband produced the new album. It's called Church House Blues, and this is actually we've produced the last 5 albums of mine together,
mm,
and this is the first time I've decided to step back away from the producer's chair because I don't know, you know, I was starting to you know, I wear too many hats because you know, it's a lot to focus on because we take our little girl to the studio with us every time we work in the studio, and every show she's always backstage. And so I was starting to feel like I was spread a little thin, and in order for me to keep being the best mom she deserves and to be the best artist that my record label deserves, the guys who just signed me, I needed to you know, step away from the producer's chair. And I'm glad I did because my husband did a bang up job. We ended up having the best reviews we've ever had for an album. Like we literally didn't have one bad review. I think the worst review we got was somebody who said the album sounded too polished. And I was like, I'll take that.
there's some weirdos out there that say, hey, this sounds too polished or too produced. I want to hear a raw sounding record. It's like,
Yeah, totally. I think it was what they said was it sounded too polished and too Nashville, but I think it was mostly because they knew I lived in Nashville and that I used to be a country music singer, because sometimes I face a little flack there too. Like people are like, why is she singing blues? She used to be a country music singer.
do
And
you
it's
ever
like,
go
I
back
don't know.
during your
It's like
sets and just say, hey, I'm going to sing a song from my past?
it's, you know, people change. People are changing every day, you know, and but it is what it is, you know. I just it's a good time.
Yeah. Do you ever go back though and sing a country song in the middle of your blues songs, or those songs are just acts now?
You know, it depends on the situation. If I get hired for like specifically a blues show or a blues festival, then it's just blues all the way. I don't do any country at all. But if I get hired from somebody, like I've actually gotten hired by country music festivals just in the past couple of years, And they were like, you could sing whatever you want. You could sing your blues music if you want. If you want to throw in some of your old country hits, that'd be great, but it's up to you. And I usually mix in the country hits when they give me the choice. And then, or if I get hired to like play by, like if somebody contracts a show and they ask my booking agent, would she do some of her country and some of her blues? So I do that a lot. So and the funny thing is that it all flows really well together. You know, even the country music I did, I always thought of it as, you know, pretty soulful. And, you know, I think there was substance in the country music I was recording. So I don't mind intertwining the two.
Would George Canyon be into maybe bluesing up a song, getting back together? And have you ever thought about collaborating again with him?
Yeah, definitely. You know, the opportunity just never came up. You know, we're both working on two totally different things. And, you know, it's just one of those things. Everybody's always being pulled in different directions and, you know, concentrating on the next move. Where we always have to think ahead, right?
It's so weird, you know, like the whole music industry and how things come to be. You know, you always wanted to be a singer, and now it's come to fruition. What are some new goals for you in this coming year or in 2021? Because this year's a write-off.
You know, I'm still doing music. You know, we're actually right now, we've been in the studio the past couple weeks here at home working on my next blues album. That's the best news ever. We got the go ahead from the record label that, you know, that they were pretty happy with the performance of the new album. And so happy that they wanted us to go ahead and start working on the next album. So we were pretty excited because, you know, we released the album right as they declared the pandemic. And so we've promoted this whole album just purely online with online shows and online interviews. And so, you know, to be honest, I was ready for somebody to call me and say, oh, we can't afford to work with you anymore because the music industry is, you know, falling apart right now, trying to figure out the next move. But yeah, we're working on the next album. And then I'm also working on a side project. It's like a concept album. It's kind of like Indigenous inspired music. And it's basically about my journey from my perspective, growing up as a res girl, growing up on Indian reservation and transitioning to an urban native, and you know, the culture shock and homesickness that you experience, and using those experiences to gain the confidence to be of the world and not just in it.
Yeah,
And
I'm really into that. Please share that with me when you're done.
yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I'm really into that kind of stuff. You know, paying homage to where you came from, and learning about somebody's grassroots. I'm all into that kind of stuff, and that's why I started the show, like learning more and more about people. And now I can, you know, stop this interview and go on and listen and be more into and research some more. Right, I'm always into that stuff. Right.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's what my goals are, just more music. And then I've been working on some children's books, and I'm also I'm trying to figure out how to get into the world of like voiceover work. I would love to do the voice of like cartoon characters and stuff like that. I think that would be so fun.
I already tried that. You know, it's a very hard industry, and
That's what they say. And like doing like voiceovers for like, because I'm really good I'm figuring out when I play with my 3-year-old daughter every day, she makes me do the voices of all her little character dolls, you know. So I'm really good at doing. I'll get like 20 voices going.
at least you like doing that. I know when Sacha Baron Cohen was doing the Borat thing, his wife told him to stop doing the accent, otherwise she's going to leave him. But yeah, I know exactly how you feel. I've been doing the voiceover thing for quite some time. I've been doing characters and whatever, but you know what? Like, it's a very hard industry to get into.
Totally. Well, I more or less want to do it for something of my own creation, like these children's books that I'm writing, that I've been working on. They're kind of like concept, like the book goes with the music album, and they kind of go
Wow.
together. And then, you know, trying to get a cartoon going from that or something, you know. Dream big, you never know.
What's the books? What are the books called? Is it a series or?
I have two different series, and one of them is about I'll share the one of them. One of them is about Little Princess Pumpkin Seed, and it's loosely based around my daughter, but it's about a little girl who has a garden and she shares it with everybody. And yeah, that's kind of the basis of it, but it's super cute.
Well, look at you. You never thought you'd have a child, and now you're writing children's books.
Totally.
Amazing.
I write her these lullabies. And so, it's like I have all these songs that I've written for her that I sing to her when I put her to sleep and stuff. And it's like, I think they're pretty good. And I just want
Well,
to
her
share them,
mom's a massive singer. Like, that'd be amazing. How old is she? Do
She's 3 years old.
you think she has any aspirations in the future of becoming a singer or a musician?
Right now, yes, definitely, because she joins us on every show, and we do these. Right now, this is how we've been surviving: is we do these personalized pre-recorded shows, and so people tell us their event and what they want us to say, and then we play our music and do their announcements in between, and the whole time we're playing our show, our daughter is bouncing around, and sometimes she'll sing. And like the last show we just recorded, she went to go hit this high note with me, and she matched my note and held it the whole time with me. And I just looked at her, I'm like, oh my God, that was so good.
You know
I'm
what?
ready to.
Watching a child grow is unreal. It's like it's one of those
It
things
is.
like that you don't understand until it happens to you. It's like one day,
Exactly.
my son, he was born in February, like right in the middle of this, at the beginning of this,
Oh
and now
wow.
he's like at home, but obviously, but he's growing every day. It's something different, right? Something
It
new.
is.
Um,
It's the coolest thing I've ever done, and I've done a lot of things. I've been a lot of places, and I always tell my husband, like, she'll do one thing that makes me laugh, and I get more joy from that than I did attending every single award show that I ever attended. And it's just, there's nothing like it. I every day she blows me away, and I'm just like, I realize now with her that that's what I was looking for, because every time I would accomplish something in my career, I'd be like, okay, that was great, now what do we do next? I never enjoyed anything. And that's why, because I was looking for something and I didn't know it was motherhood.
is this a point in your life where you're just like, you look back and now when you think about your life in the present time, you have no complaints?
None. I have no complaints. I accomplished more than I ever thought I was gonna accomplish. Like when I was a kid on the reserve, I just wanted to sing. If I could just make a living singing, that would be amazing. That's all I used to think. Like, I'd watch award shows, but I never thought I'd actually get on one. And I remember watching Reba sing the duet with Linda Davis on CMT, and I remember thinking, oh, I wish I could sing this with her, but as if that would ever happen. And then it happened. And, you know, meeting all my heroes, and, it was, I have no complaints. And now
Absolutely.
I got to, chase my dreams and fulfill them. And now I get to chase new dreams and dream new dreams, and, follow my heart and do what I really want to do.
That really humbles me. It warms my heart because I feel exactly the same. And you can have new dreams for your child. Like
Exactly.
my guy
Totally.
has to be a hockey player, and he just doesn't know it yet. Are you into sports, especially being in Nashville?
You know what? I used to be really into hockey. I used to watch it all the time, and I used to go watch the games all the time here at the Nashville Predators. But after a while, I just got so busy. I just honestly, I do, I barely watch any new TV. I'm so behind on movies. I'm always in the studio, and then ever since the birth of my daughter, I just play with her all day long. It's like my whole focus is just to fill her life with joy and wonder. And that's
I
all I
feel
do.
exactly the same as you. Like people are like, did you watch this on Netflix? You have to watch it. Unless I have a guest in the show, I'm not going to go watch it, because if I
Yeah.
turn on Netflix, I'm going to fall asleep on the couch. My life went
Yes.
from watching hockey all the time, and I was looking forward to it. And then finally, NHL came back, and I was started watching it, and my girls were like, "Hey, like I want to watch TV," but my wife was like, "Hey, just let him because he hasn't watched hockey in such a long time." Okay,
Yeah.
cool. So I'm watching it. Next thing I fall asleep, and I can hear her in the background. It's like, "Okay, go watch TV." He fell asleep on the couch, but that my life is this, like family and this and work, and Yeah. And, you know, I know exactly how
Totally.
you feel. Every parent knows exactly how you feel. And you have to be a parent to understand it. You have no time for anything. And when you want to put your kid to bed, it's like, do I watch Netflix or stay up with my wife and talk to her? No, you want to go to bed. You want to go to bed immediately, right?
Exactly.
So,
I'm like,
Crystal,
I'm like, I need my 8 hours sleep. I'm going to bed.
Crystal, I want to thank you for coming on my show. Um, get out there and maybe pick out a copy of Church House Blues, Crystal's new record. Find it on Spotify, but most important, go buy the record, support her, and she's got a whole line of children's books coming out. And finally, I got an awesome question for you. I ask everybody on the show this question. It's about coffee. I love coffee. How do you take your coffee?
I don't drink coffee.
I got to start lining people up who drink coffee, man, every time.
I used to drink it. And when I did used to drink it, I would just add a couple creams. I do like iced coffee. I love iced coffee.
Okay, how do you drink your iced coffee?
Really sweet.
Really, really sweet, eh? Okay.
Yeah,
Well,
that's
that
right.
works for me. I mean, you know, there's been people on the show that just don't drink coffee. You know, it's like just look at me. It's like, okay, well, here we go. But
You
that's
know what? You know why I don't drink coffee? Because I was a theater kid. I used to be in like work at a theater company doing plays when I was like 9, 10. And it was like always older people. So they never thought to buy drinks for kids. Like, so there was never juice or even just water. There was always just coffee. So I'd have to sip on coffee. And I was like 9, 10 years old. So after a while, I just kind of didn't want to drink coffee.
how tall are you now?
I'm pretty short. I'm pretty
Okay, so
short.
maybe that had a factor because it's supposed to stunt
I,
your
I
growth.
I think so. I think so. Definitely. You live on the wild side when you grow up in the theater world.
Well, thank you, Crystal, for joining me this evening. For all you guys that are listening right now, Crystal Shawanda, the amazing songwriter from Canada, living in Nashville right now, has a family, has a new record out, and you can check her out. What's your website? How do people get in touch with you?
crystalshawanda.co, and check me out on YouTube. Subscribe to my channel. That helps me out a lot. And like my Facebook page.
Absolutely. And you can like, subscribe, or follow the show on any social media platform. And just make sure you follow me back, Crystal, because
Absolutely.
I followed you on Twitter and I'm waiting for that follow back. So take
No,
care.
you know what? I barely go on my Twitter, so I apologize.
That's okay.
I have my social media set up where I post on Instagram, and then it immediately goes to my Facebook page, and then it immediately goes to my Twitter. That's the only way I can manage them all while
It's
being a
very
mother.
hard because, like, you know, uploading the show, doing this and that, and then you forget about YouTube. It's like, well, that's like a month behind now. Like, you have to go
Yes.
back and like, so I really understand that. And thank you again for being on my show. And I hope to have you back again soon.
Thank you so much. It's so great chatting with you. Thank you so much.
Take
Take
care.
care.